My coverage of CES 2023 is brought to you by Asus, Gigabyte, Kioxia, and Cooler Master. Welcome back, everyone, to my continuing coverage of CES 2023. I'm still here in the Venetian Palazzo Expo Center where the lighting is kind of weird. That's why I look a little orange. But I'm here at Hyte and iBuyPower. Hyte, of course, makes cases. iBuyPower makes pre-built systems, but they're also getting into water cooling and stuff like that. And look at this RGB wall behind me. It's almost like they're trying to make it as difficult as possible to find the right white balance as I filmed, but let's see what they got to show me. So I've done a few builds, a couple builds, I'll say, in the Hyte Y60 case already. This one's already out, this one's already available, and do any of my viewers watch Vtubers? I barely even know what a Vtuber is, but apparently Oru Crony is one, and they've done a collaboration to kit this Hyte Y60 case out with a bunch of decals with that. That's cool. Perhaps of more interest to those of you who aren't into VTubers would be this little accessory right here. This one is also available, ready for sale right now. For US and Canada at least, it's going to cost $120. It is a vertical LCD strip. It's a full kit that you can connect up to the system. As you can see, it's showing system stats, which are useful. If you're wondering what software is powering this display, it's Hyte's new Nexus software. It's currently in development. You can see it's clearly listing beta right there. So guys, let Hyte know in the comments what you think about this display, and you can even report some bugs with that Homer GIF right there. GIF, animation. And here's another Y60 with a pretty nice open loop custom water cooling setup in it, and you might be noticing this part right here, a distro plate. Distro plates are all the rage for water cooling. They look really cool. They are functional sometimes even as well. And you often see the position like back there where the fans are in a lot of these cases of this style and layout. Hyte decided, you know what, we got this little quarter panel here at the front of the case. Why not kit that out with a distro plate? Here's some quick data on the system that we're actually looking at, and then here is the distro plate. We're looking at a Q1 launch for the distro plate. It's going to cost $300 US, and they're currently deciding whether or not to include a D5 or a DDC pump, or to offer both versions. I said D5 would be the way to go. DDC is a little bit smaller, but tends to run a little bit louder, but let them know in the comments. D5, DDC, what's your preference? This build back here is also using these new fittings. And we first saw these fittings when I covered iBuyPower all the way back in 2020. So here they are. They're going to come in a pack of 6. So these are called Hyte Push Connect fittings. And I, of course, am an expert plumber. I've done like 1 or 2 plumbing jobs in my house, and I only had to call in a professional plumber as I attempted that once. But I do know that sharkbite fittings are very easy to use because they're push to connect. So you can see little ridges in there. Basically, you take your tubing, slot it in, push it, it will seal itself. You might be able to see there's a double O-ring in there, so you get a nice good seal, so you're not going to have any leaks. Got a nice clean finish on the outside with just a little bit of ridging and the H for Hyte. So if you've been considering a custom loop water-cooled build, consider making your attachment of fittings a little bit easier with these Hyte Push to Connect fittings. These are going to come in 6 packs, and they're going to be $60 available in Q1. Let's check out what iBuyPower has going on. This case over here, this is one of the cases that iBuyPower offers. It's called the Trace 7, specifically the Trace 7 Mesh. The Trace 5 has already been out and available for some time. The Trace 7 Mesh updates the front panel here with, surprisingly enough, shocker, mesh. It's always better to have mesh for direct airflow at the front of the case or wherever you have fans doing intakes. So the nice thing that they're doing here, though, is since they've made this update for the Trace 7, for users who have a Trace 5 already and want to upgrade to just the front panel, they're going to make that available standalone soon, they say. We're not exactly sure when, but pretty soon. Likewise, they're going to be having a Trace 7 Pro version here, and that's going to ship with RGB fans, and that will also add a USB Type-C to the front panel connectors right up there. Now, iBuyPower, of course, ships complete systems, so the Trace 7 Mesh for iBuyPower is a complete system there. I also asked them if this case might be available standalone to purchase, since it is a little bit more towards the budget side, and it's always good to have budget options for cases. They said maybe. If they do, it would be available directly on the iBuyPower parts store, and that's also where you'd be able to purchase this mesh front panel standalone. Now, since iBuyPower makes complete systems, they want to be able to give you the complete package, and they also have a couple updated peripherals here. So the Chimera KM7 is the combo, so the K7 is the keyboard, the M7 is the mouse. So if you get an iBuyPower system through the retail channels where they are available, it will come with a keyboard and mouse. You can opt out of that if you so desire. But again, that's just to make sure that you're going to get a fully functional gaming setup right out of the box. And of course, they're all going to have RGB lighting, which can be controlled via the Hyte software, which is currently on screen right now. The K7 here is a membrane keyboard, but it does have full RGB control with backlit keys. And these 7th generation iBuyPower systems, they're available in a wide variety of configurations. I'm told that with the mesh front panel in this case, it can actually support up to an RTX 4090. But systems based on this are going to start around $1,000. And again, that includes your peripherals. Here's another Hyte Y60 case, and this is actually an iBuyPower system, because of course you can get iBuyPower systems with Hyte cases. They are sister brands. But this one is unique not because of the hardware that's on this side, but actually the hardware that's installed over on this side. This is actually a dual system build. You're right, they fit 2 computers into this one Hyte Y60 case, and you probably can tell what it is. It's an Intel NUC that's in there. So if we remove the side panel, we can see a second PC. They've wired it up so they're both running off of this single power supply down here. And although this is still a concept that's in development, which is why, for example, there is not necessarily a tray for the riser card here that they've connected up a Elgato capture card to, it is quite impressive that in just this little gap here, which previously has been used for the hard drive trays in the Hyte Y60 by default, they've just wedged in an Intel NUC system as well as an add-on capture card. So you could do 4K gaming capture with the secondary system here while gaming on the main system in the Hyte Y60. So again, with these concept ideas that we show at shows like CES, they're really looking for feedback on it. They want to know if enough people are interested to go ahead with the full development and launch of a product like this. So once again, they're looking for your feedback. Leave that in the comments section down below. You know what sucks? Vowels. Vowels suck. And who wants a vowel in your mouse pad? I'm making a stupid joke right here, but this is Canvas. It's actually spelled CNVS, but that's a very large mouse pad with RGB integrated. Actually 50 LEDs going around the edge. You might notice this seamless edge right here with no stitching or anything like that visible. It's nice and thick too with 7 layers, and it is still being controlled by that same Nexus software that I showed you guys with that first system. The software is still in development, but they have a lot of stuff to tie in because they need to be able to control stuff like mouse pads, stuff like the actual mouse and keyboard if they have RGB elements, and of course all of the components that are in the case as well. This case, by the way, is the Hyte Y40, which just recently launched. I'm going to show you more of that in just a second. Beyond that, the Canvas mousepad is very large. So it's a desk mat, and if you like a large mousing service for your gaming, and also not sort of a ridge or a difference in the height between where your keyboard and mouse go, having a full desk mat is a good way to accomplish that. And it even has Type-C connectivity here. And even where the interface is, they've continued the RGB up and around there, and it goes across the back as well, although it's harder to see from this particular angle. The Canvas is expected to launch around April, give or take, and it's going to cost $120 US. And we're going to finish over here, the Y40. The Y40 just launched January 3rd, January 4th, a few days ago, basically. It is a $150 case, and it is the successor, of course, to the Y60, which I've been showing you various versions of. It's not quite as wide as the Y60. So this time the power supply is going to sit in the bottom. There is a little bit of a power supply shroud, but it still has that full view of the internals of the system. 2 tempered glass pieces that meet right over here in a near seamless fashion. These 2 builds, by the way, this one was provided by Starforge PC. This one was actually built live by Justin Roby, aka RobyTech. You can see the Zotac amp arrow being displayed in there. I was fairly complimentary of the Zotac amp arrow's design. It's just available in an RTX 4090, 4080, and also more recently 4070 Ti trim. I believe this is a 4070 Ti in here. But there's a quick look at Justin's work, and just another little wraparound view of this one made by Starforge, which they did custom paint, you can see across the top and the back with their logo. Back to the Y40 proper though, again, it's going to be available in 3 colors, just like the Y60, the black, the white, and the red. And there are some nice changes versus the Y60. The Y60, of course, still a very good case, but this one's a little bit smaller, about 50 liter versus 60 liters on the Y60. It does come with 2 included fans. One's going to be pre-mounted at the rear, one's going to be down there below the power supply. And the nice thing, especially for these larger size graphics cards that have been launching, you actually get a bit more space with the Y40 than you get with the Y60 for 4-slot graphics cards in particular. You also might be noticing that little Hyte accent in the back. That is a new addition as well. And just like the predecessor, you're looking at a vertical GPU mount only with, of course, a PCIe Gen 4 riser cable included, but you still have room for up to 6 half-height expansion cards below the white shroud for the PCIe riser cable. But guys, that's all the time I have for the Hyte and iBuyPower booth. One last word of warning before we go, though, for the push-to-connect fittings here. These are sharkbite style fittings, so don't stick your finger in there. That's my last advice to you guys. I might try that in a future video, but you know, I don't want to injure myself here at CES. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thanks to Hyte and iBuyPower for inviting me over. A big thank you to my sponsors for this event as well, Gigabyte, Asus, Kioxia, and Cooler Master. I have more content from CES 2023 coming at you real soon. So hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel for more. We'll see you guys in the next one. Coolie Master.